Now, normally on this channel, we don't upload on back-to-back days, but I'm gonna be honest with you, this may be one of the biggest stories in the NBA we've seen in years. For those who are unaware, earlier today, news broke that the NBA, players, coaches, and anyone who was involved is under investigation from the FBI. And what is being alleged is pretty steep allegations. The FBI is doing a wide-range investigation on illegal sports betting and rigged poker games that have been backed by the mafia. In these allegations, there have been over 30 people who have already been arrested. The three people that we are familiar with in this investigation that have already been arrested are Terry Rozier, Chauncey Billups, and Damon Jones. Now, when doing a video like this, I want to be very responsible and respectful to the process that comes with arresting people and putting them in jail. So far, this is just an investigation. Even though there are arrests being made, everything is allegations, and everyone involved is innocent until proven guilty. But with that being said, when the FBI is involved, we are talking about an agency that will not take the steps until they have done their due diligence. And in the reporting, we are talking about years of investigation. We are talking about the feds. When they get involved, they have more than enough evidence to really throw the book at you. So even though these are allegations, and even though everyone is innocent, it's not looking that good at all for the 30 people who are involved and have been arrested, especially for Terry Rozier, Chauncey Billups, and Damon Jones. So what exactly has happened? What exactly is being alleged? How exactly did we get here? Because it is pretty steep. Well, there are two separate indictments that are occurring. The first involves 6 defendants accused of participating in sports corruption schemes that exploited insider information involving NBA players and teams. The defendants leveraged their connections to place prop bets based on confidential insider information, winning tens of thousands of dollars per bet. The second indictment involves 31 defendants charged with participating in a nationwide scheme to rig illegal poker games. And the FBI claims the way they were able to pull this off is that they used high-tech cheating technology to steal millions of dollars from victims in underground poker games that were secretly fixed. Now, it's very important to understand the 3 people that we are familiar with in this story: Billups, Rozier, and Jones. It's very important to make sure you connect the dots accordingly. Terry Rozier specifically is associated with the prop bets. He's associated with the insider information for prop betting. Chauncey Billups is specifically associated with the rigged poker games, and Damon Jones actually is associated with both of these indictments. So big ol' yikes if you're Damon Jones. Big ol' yikes. But how exactly did they catch him, and what are the details pertaining to both of these indictments? Now, when it comes to Damon Jones, what is being accused is that he would use his relationships and information as a former player, and is even an unofficial assistant head coach for the Los Angeles Lakers, on players who would or would not be available, and pass along that information. He actually did this, allegedly now, with LeBron as well. It is being accused that back in 2023, in a game against the Milwaukee Bucks, Damon Jones had some information before the public did that LeBron was not going to play, and with LeBron not being available, of course, passed that information along to someone else, and then they decided to bet on the Bucks, and of course won large. But what I believe is way more damning is that we're talking about NBA players, allegedly now, claiming that they were being told, or that they're telling people that they're going to take themselves out of the game early due to injuries, and then of course not be able to hit their over on a certain bet, which will then translate to tens of thousands of dollars per bet. And to make it even worse, even if there are certain gambling companies and entities that may put a cap on how much money you can bet, this was a whole operation. They had multiple people putting money down everywhere. Gambling sites, in casinos, in person. They would come in person and drop off money. Terry Rozier, still a part of this, has been one of the biggest culprits of these allegations. Claims. The FBI says the NBA player Terry Rozier told defendants that he was going to leave a game early on March 23rd, 2023 with an injury. The defendant then placed a bet more than $200,000 on the under for his prop bets, with Rozier leaving the game after 9 minutes. Those bets paid out tens of thousands of dollars in profit, and the defendant and Rozier counted the money at his house. ESPN continues in his article to remind us that Terry Rozier was indeed connected to Jontay Porter. For those who need me to jog your memory, especially because I don't think we covered that story on this channel, but Jontay Porter, who was a center for the Toronto Raptors, banned from the NBA last year as Porter pled guilty to conspiracy charges and admitted in court to manipulating his performance in 2 games during the 23-24 season. He is awaiting his sentence in December, but just be very mindful. Effectively, Jontay Porter claimed that something happened with his eye and he had to get out the game, and of course, if you knew that he was going to do that, then you would put a bunch of money on his unders and you would make a bunch of money, which seems to be the exact same thing that happened with Terry Rozier and his foot injury. His foot injury. Yes, Terry Rozier had been caught in that fashion, and there has been several other teams that have been put money on that are in connection to this as well. Those teams are as followed: the Charlotte Hornets, Portland Trail Blazers, Los Angeles Lakers, and Toronto Raptors. So that is the first one, and it's a pretty damning one, and it certainly puts into question the legitimacy of gambling sites being intertwined with the NBA. And I'm going to go as far as to say that is the most problematic one, because the NBA, as well as some of their partners, such as ESPN, have effectively been in bed with gambling platforms, companies for years now, to the point where ESPN has their own betting subsection, their gambling subsection called ESPN Bet. And to try to separate themselves from this, on ESPN early this morning, they had to just completely remove it off the ticker. They just, let's go and take that down off the ticker, man. Let's go and take that down off the ticker. So y'all see right here in the bottom right-hand corner, ESPN Bet.
Because it might be in the back of people's minds, and we acknowledge that this is a different time and place.
Take the whole thing off. Now, the second allegation is effectively you had these mafia members, people with a large amount of money, coming in and investing in these poker rings that had very clear evidence that they were cheating and getting as much money as possible out of people. And what they were doing to try to lure people in is use NBA players as the face of these games. That's how Chauncey Billups got involved, allegedly, and that's also how Damian Jones got involved, allegedly, as well. But what exactly is going on at these poker games? The FBI says that the defendants utilized altered shuffled machines to read the cards in the decks and then relay the information to an off-site operator. The operator, known as the quarterback, then sent the information to someone at the table. The FBI also says that the defendants utilized other cheating technologies, including poker chip trays that would read cards through hidden cameras, special contact lens, and glasses that could read marking cards, and X-ray poker tables that could read face-down cards. I'm not gonna lie, when they were explaining how detailed the cheating was, that's when I knew it's over. You're done. If they have all of that on you, if they have everything they know about how they cheated, if they know all the information about how they passed along what your cards were, X-ray tables so they can see face-down cards, you're done, bro. It's done. Now, the FBI says that the defendants robbed victims at gunpoint as well. They were robbing people at these events. It wasn't enough that they were already cheating. It wasn't enough about the X-ray tables. It wasn't enough about the shuffling machines. No, people also were getting robbed at gunpoint at these events. It's done. The FBI has been working on this investigation for 4 years. 4 years, with victims losing at least $7 million. One specific victim lost at least $1.8 million. The FBI reviewed thousands of hours of video evidence and executed more than 24 search warrants. Now, I'm going to say this about the poker games, and I'm going to be as generous as possible. From my sources, not going to tell you who, but from my sources, there is a possibility that the NBA players who were involved, and there could be more NBA players that were involved, may not have been completely aware of what was occurring, rather than just using their names to lure people in to allow all the other illegal activity to happen. Not saying that my sources are correct, but I just want to put that out there. There's a lot of blurred lines on how involved many of these NBA players are when it comes to the poker games. But the rigged prop bets, making sure that they hit the unders, it's not that much blurred lines behind that. It ain't really that many blurred lines. When the FBI gets involved and they come and arrest you, trust me when I say they have years and years of evidence to go off of. They got you, dog. They got you. The only way you're going to get out of this is if you snitch. You need to snitch because we talking about big king pins. We're talking about mob bosses, mobsters, mafia. That's what we're talking. You need to snitch. Let it go. You're not like that. You're an NBA player. That's not your body. It's just not your body. You need to snitch. You need to snitch right now. I don't give a damn how much money they take out of you. I don't give a damn how many NBA games and opportunities you're not going to have anymore. I don't give a damn. You need to snitch because they're not really after you, the NBA player that they use as the face to say, oh, come on in, play with Chauncey Billups. They don't care about you, Chauncey. They care about the mob bosses. Because also at these rigged poker games, they were also holding some of these victims at gunpoint because they were going to make sure that they got their money. They were robbing folks out there. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, though. The other side of it, sports gambling, Terry Rozier, Jonte Porter, y'all are done. Y'all are done. I ain't gonna lie, there ain't nothing I can help with y'all on that one. Y'all are done. Y'all are actively participating in it. Y'all are doing things that y'all know is illegal. Y'all are a part of the scheme. And y'all are very directly connected to the scheme. So allegedly now. But if you allegedly did do it, ain't nothing I can do. Ain't nothing I can handle with that right there. There's no advice. There's nothing I can say. Now, what exactly does this mean at large for the NBA? Well, as I recorded this video, news has already broke that both Chauncey Billups and Terry Rozier will take a leave from the league. The Portland Trail Blazers have already replaced Chauncey Billups with Tiago Splitter, and of course, Terry Rozier will not play any games until the investigation is over with. So that's step number one. Step number two is that Adam Silver has already made it aware that if you are an individual that wants nothing to do with sports betting, or you have a young individual who is watching games, you can have the choice to remove all of this from your viewing experience. If you don't want anything to do with sports betting, if you have a youngster in your home and you don't want them to see those fields, it could be password protected. Click. All of those fields are gone and you don't have to experience any sports betting ads or an announcer commentating on probability, which I guess that's a right step in the right direction, Adam. However, I need you and the rest of the NBA at large to understand the severity of what's happening right now. The history of the NBA and gambling and things going awry has dated back to the 90s and potentially further than that. But Michael Jordan and the NBA being investigated by the FBI from sports gambling. Of course, we have Tim Donaghy, the referee early on in the 2000s, sports gambling. And here we are now with another incident where you have effectively allowed the normalization of sports gambling by a very wide push, not only from the NBA, but its partners as well, where every time I watch something on TV or I'm actually viewing the game itself, it's right in my face. This is not a conversation about options. This is not a conversation about password protections. This is a conversation about the integrity of your sports. Be very mindful that Terry Rozier being arrested is not only interested because of the arrest, but remember, the NBA did their own investigation and claimed that they found absolutely nothing, but here we are several months later, and the FBI has found more than enough over a 4-year period to arrest him. So did you not really find anything, or did you just wanted to sweep it under the rug and hope that nothing came about it? I'm gonna be honest with you, Adam. This is it. This is what your administration, what your term as league commissioner, your legacy will be defined on how you deal with this Kawhi Leonard situation and also gambling that's happening in the NBA, because you cannot just sweep this under the rug. You cannot just push this aside. This is damning. And the more and more we get deeper into this, the more FBI investigation, the more money that is being revealed, millions and millions of dollars, you look bad, because you cannot sit here and tell us that you did an investigation, found nothing, but here we are now with the FBI FBI arresting Terry Rozier and also rounding up a bunch of other people who are affiliated with the NBA. Be proactive, get in front of it, and actually challenge what exactly is happening in your league, even if it means it will jeopardize millions to billions of dollars. Because if not, you need to step aside.